everybody, how you guys doing out there today? Welcome back to another episode of Halloween at the Manor. I'm going to call this one our haunt update video number 2. So in this video, a new project that I kind of started messing around with a couple of days ago is I wanted to build a fountain for the cemetery. And the inspiration for this fountain actually came from a husband and wife team on YouTube called the Hollywood Haunters. And if you haven't seen any of their videos, go check them out. They are absolutely amazing. They've been on YouTube for well over a decade now, and they are currently in the process of building all of these awesome props for the Winchester Mystery House out in California. They just do absolutely amazing work. But several years back, I watched a video of theirs where they made this incredible working fountain out of foam. And they basically carved the whole thing with these giant blocks of foam. Now, I don't have access to those blocks, so what I was going to do is, or I decided to do is, instead of using foam for this project, I actually went out and bought several different sizes of plastic garden planters, and basically going to kind of use that as the fountain pieces. So as you can see here, and I'm going to get into this, I'll get into how this all works individually, but I have this gigantic piece of PVC, 3-inch PVC running down the middle. And this is going to be, we are going to be cutting some of this off. But basically everything, all of these planters that I'm going to try to make look like this fountain, just basically slide onto this PVC. So I wanted to make this thing to be able to be taken apart so we can store easier. And I'm also kind of being cheap with this project. Basically wanted to kind of make this as cheap as possible. So anyway, this is what I'm going to be covering in this video, and possibly going into maybe another video as well, because I really don't know exactly what I'm doing with this. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe you guys will like this one and try to build this thing for yourself. But anyway, why don't we go ahead and I'll give you guys a closer look at how I kind of set this up, and let's see what you guys think. Let's go.
Alright guys, I took the fountain apart so you can see how the individual pieces fit. The first thing I did was I built a base using 5mm plywood and 2x2 inch furring strips. The base is 17 inches tall and roughly a foot wide. On the top of the base I added a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. In the center of the plywood I cut out a 4-inch hole. This is so we can run some 4-foot pieces of rebar through the base and the PVC pipe to anchor the fountain into the ground. Now, to attach the PVC pipe to the base, I covered the 4-inch hole with a toilet flange I had laying around from another project. The PVC pipe slides right into the flange. To cover up the flange and make the base look nicer, I went over to Home Depot and found this Grecian style plot. The black stand was the base to the pot. I cut the top off and attached it to the 3/4 inch plywood with some screws. For the first tier of the fountain, I decided to use this mold here. When I was a competitive strongman many years ago, we used to buy these plastic molds to make our Atlas stones for training purposes. This half a mold has been lying around for many years, and I'm glad to finally use it for something. Now, in between the fountain tiers, I decided to use these small plastic planters I found at Dollar General. They're on sale right now for 50 cents a piece. I'm cutting and piecing these together to get an urn style shape. I did cut a hole in the middle pot so this piece can slide onto the PVC pipe. I do have to figure out a way to seal these pots up. I may use some liquid nails or even some spray foam. So here is exactly what I'm doing with the small pots. On the bottom pot, I'm cutting off this section here. You can use an X-Acto knife or a box cutter. However, I'm using a Dremel with the cutting attachment on. For the middle pot, all I did was cut out a 3-inch hole in the bottom so the PVC can slide through. Then I attached these two pots together like so. I still have to try and figure out how to get these two pieces together. For now, I think I'm just going to use some Gorilla Tape. For the top pot, you want to cut off the entire bottom section, as you can see here. We are then going to cut off the lid. I just folded it up to make it easier to cut. Here is what you should end up with for the top pot. All you have to do is just slide this into the top of the middle pot. So here is the second urn style piece. Now we just slide on the second tier like this. It will rest on top of the urn piece. Now we slide on our second urn piece like this. Next we are going to work on the third tier of the fountain. So here's a look at the fountain in its current state. We decided to top the fountain with this gargoyle. We used to have 2 of these, but one ended up falling apart. This fits perfectly on the top pot. I think I will add a piece of 3/4 inch plywood into the top of the pot so we can mount the gargoyle. The tiers of the fountain ended up working perfectly. The diameter of the bottom tier is 22 inches, the second tier is 17 inches, and I ended up using a different bowl for the third tier. The one I was originally planning to use was just too small, but this bowl is 12 inches in diameter, a perfect 5-inch difference between each of the 3 tiers. So here's what I'm going to try to do to seal the smaller pots up. I went over to Walmart and I got a few bottles of GE spray foam. It's on sale for $3.88 a bottle. I sprayed the foam around the edges of the bottom pot and around the hole I cut in the middle pot. I also added some liquid nails around the outside seam of the bottom and middle pots as well. On the seam between the top and middle pots, I think I'm just going to use some caulk. That should be sufficient. Now for the gargoyle, I did add a piece of 3/4 inch plywood inside the rim of the top pot, and I sprayed some foam on the plywood. I then placed the gargoyle on the foam. I'm just waiting for this to start drying so I can push the foam up around the base of the gargoyle. I'm hoping this will work to secure him. On the last urn piece, I did the same to this one as I did to the first one you saw. Here is an updated look at the fountain. Now, I have been working on this all day, but it doesn't look like it. I tried a few things on the top fountain tier, the blue colored bowl, that I ended up not liking. Basically, wasted a lot of time and materials. I did come up with something I hope will work. On the black pot I got from Home Depot, it has this pattern in it. I tried to replicate that same pattern on the bottom tier with pool noodles. On the pool noodles going down the sides of the bowl, I shaved them down with my Dremel so they weren't as thick. There's all the remnants over there. I attached the pool noodles with some 1-inch screws and used the spray foam as a glue on the inside to secure them to the bowl. I'm hoping this is going to work. I finished by putting some waterproof caulk along all the seams. I'm not going to do anything with the top bowl, the blue colored bowl. It's just too small to mess with. I also have to shave down some of the foam around the gargoyle as well. It's just a little bit too puffy. Now for the base of the fountain, since I had a lot of these 1x3 inch wood pieces lying around, I decided to use this as a trim all around the sides. I really like the way this looks. I also ran some 2x2 inch furring strips along the bottom of the base as well. If I can find something to go inside the individual boxes down the road, I'll add that as well, but honestly I'm not sure what that would even be. At this point, I think the build of the fountain is complete. I have some smaller things left to do, but the next step will be to start painting. To paint the fountain, I'm going to use this gray paint I got from Home Depot. After it dries, I'll sponge on some white acrylic paint to give it a stone look and finish it off by misting on some of this Hunt Club green spray paint to give it a moldy, weathered look. Here's a sneak peek of how the painting is coming along. I'm really focusing on trying to get the insides of the bowls to look moldy and disgusting.
Alright guys, so here's a look at the finished fountain, and overall I think it came out pretty cool. Now, when we put this out in the yard on Halloween, we are going to add some things to this. For instance, we're going to go over to Michael's and see if we can find some like fake vegetation to have like hanging out over the bowls and stuff. We might even put some like, we're starting to collect leaves, probably throw some leaves in there, maybe some vines, things like that. Basically just try to make this thing look, you know, old and weathered and decrepit. Now another thing is that I don't know if I'm going to put this out right away for Halloween. I don't know how well the paint is going to last on this. All I did was kind of just, you know, you guys saw I just kind of painted this. The base of this was just a gray brick stucco paint I got at Home Depot, sponged on some white acrylic paint. And then as you can see here, I kind of just misted on some green to make it look weathered and old. I just don't know how well this paint is going to last on this one. But anyway, if you guys saw this project and you wanted to build one of these for yourself, this is a very doable project for anybody that doesn't have like a lot of tools. I mean, honestly, I built the base, but you could use a 5-gallon bucket that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's as your base. You know, the pot in the middle here was $15 at Home Depot. This pot right here is just a bowl that I had lying around. I mean, you could get one of those at the dollar store or a thrift store. The only special one was kind of like this mold down here, like I mentioned, we used to use to make Atlas stones. And then you guys saw all of these centerpieces here. These were just 50-cent plastic potter plants that I got over at you know, Dollar General. Now, as far as a topper goes, you could just go and buy a plastic skull and use that as your topper. The most expensive piece of this was the 3-inch PVC running up the middle. But you guys don't need to use 3-inch PVC. You probably could get away with maybe even 1 inch or 1.5 inches, which would be a lot cheaper. So that's just something to think about, you know, if you wanted to try to attempt to do this this fountain on your own. There may actually be a second part to this project as well. I'm just not sure if I'm going to do it yet, but I mentioned earlier in the video that the inspiration for this fountain came from the Hollywood Hunters video. In their fountain, they actually had a kiddie pool where this fountain would sit in, and then be around the kiddie pool they built like this foam wall. I may try to do something similar, just not with foam, maybe with some of the 5mm plywood and some furring strips. Try to like build something around the base of this with a kiddie pool. In the comment section, let us know what you guys think about this this fountain. I think it's going to be a really cool addition for this year. It's something that you know, we've never done. I don't think I've ever seen, other than a few people might have done it, but I think this is going to be a really cool addition. Just got to try to figure out where we want to put this in the yard. But anyway, I really guys hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. We've been getting a lot of new subscribers lately. Thank you to all those who have subscribed recently. I hope you guys are enjoying everything that we're doing here. But anyway, again, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and take care. Bye-bye.